Ha 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 ha! What is up, FunAhead friends and family? I hope you're all doing exceptionally well today. And yes, you read that title correctly. We did, in fact, get a new project car, which I'm going to tell you about today. But first, I'm going to do a little bit of background on what exactly this car is, because honestly, it might be one that not many of you are super familiar with. I'm sure a lot of you Porsche files are, but just for the ones who are not, I'm going to go ahead and give a little bit of background on this thing. Sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, maybe a cold snack or two, and let's get right into it. Before we get super far into this video, I just want to take a quick moment to let you guys know that FunAhead TV officially has merch. That's right, your boys got merch.
Squid's got jeans!
We've got a really nice t-shirt and a really nice full zip hoodie available. Both have a small logo on the front and a big one on the back, but they're high quality garments. They come pre-washed, so there's no risk they'll ever shrink up on you. You can wear them for years to come. The hoodies are super durable. You can wear them in the house, in the shop, whatever you want to do. So if you're looking for a great way to support one of your favorite YouTubers and get some high quality clothing, head on over to funaheadtv.com and get yourself some merch today. Thank you guys so much. Let's get back to the video. Okay, now let's step back in time a little bit to the 1980s. Oh, the 80s. What a time. Actually, admittedly, I wouldn't know. I wasn't there. We're going to talk about the 80s regardless. Back in the 80s, Porsche only had a few models. They didn't have the Cayenne and the Macan and the Panamera, all these extra models that are filling out their model lineup today. They had the 928, the 944, or earlier the 924, and then the 944, and then the 911. Of course, everyone knows the 911, but the 928 and 944 were, well, front engine, rear wheel drive sports cars that as a platform were meant to eventually take the place of the 911, which Porsche intended to phase out. Kind of crazy, right? But today I want to focus on the 944. So the 944 was a 1980s icon, and it was a game-changing sports car. Made from 1982 to 1991, for years it sold like crazy thanks to its modern, sleek, and muscular looks. Yet it was also the perfect driver's car. Light, balanced, and fun to drive. It had a nearly perfect 50-50 weight distribution and was fairly practical and reliable. It was highly sought after as a result of being highly praised by car magazines, appearing in movies and pop culture, and being made famous within the racing world from the 924 GTP Le Mans, from which the 944 is based on. The 944 was on Car and Driver's 10 best list from 1983 to 1985, and in 1984, Car and Driver named it the best handling production car in America. So clearly, this car was no slouch. During its production run, the 944 sold really well. It oftentimes outsold the 928 and 911. In fact, it was the best-selling Porsche model up to that time. Now, like I mentioned, it was Porsche's intention to have the 928 and 944 be the eventual replacement for the 911. The 944 being the mid-level sports car and the 928 being the top tier. Plus, it was clear that given the 944 sales numbers, they were onto something. So if the 944 was so successful and such a great sports car, why is it something that we very rarely hear about today? I know, many Porsche files remember its significance and are big fans of this car. And I'm going to get blown up in the comments by some people saying, what are you talking about? This car is super famous. But honestly, is it in today's day and age? Because I think the world has largely forgotten about this car. In fact, I bet you 9.5 out of 10 people couldn't name what one was if it pulled up next to them at a stoplight. So why is that the case? How is it that such a significant, long-running model in Porsche's history is so slept on in today's day and age? In 1992, Porsche introduced an updated version of the 944, which they named the 968. It didn't sell well due to being just that, an updated version of the 944, which, by that point, was quite long in the tooth. Plus the fact that it was very expensive compared to the outgoing 944, which meant that the model was more or less dead on arrival. So with heritage in mind and taking inspiration from the 356 and 550 Spider, the 986 Boxster reached the concept phase and wowed everybody when it was introduced to the world at the 1993 North American International Auto Show in Detroit. From that point on, enthusiasm for the new era of Porsches was full steam ahead, and the 944 quickly became a thing of the past. Porsche and their customers were looking towards the future and away from the dark times that Porsche had been experiencing. So just because the 944 is largely forgotten doesn't mean that it's not still significant in today's day and age. In fact, one could argue that the 944 paved the way for all of the iconic sports cars that we know and love and praise in today's day and age that are from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. Just think about the formula. It's a purist car. It's a light car, front engine, rear-wheel drive sports car with a manual transmission and a perfectly balanced 50-50 weight distribution. Sound familiar? What other iconic cars come to mind? The Miata, the Toyota 86. What about the S2000? The 944 didn't just set the stage for those cars. I would argue that it can still go head-to-head with them. Think I'm wrong? Let's take a look at these stats.
I threw the S2000 on this list because, well, it's along the lines of these other cars, but I think it's slightly a notch above the others performance-wise. Either way, still relevant. Now, the common denominator with all these is front engine, rear-wheel drive, light sports car, manual transmission, lower horsepower, perfectly balanced. Take a look at these performance figures at the bottom here, which kind of helps to normalize all of the busy numbers above. You can see that the power to weight ratio for all of these, of course, gets better as the years go on, but still the 944 is within the realm of even the ND Miata and the Toyota 86. This is especially apparent when you look at all of the 0 to 60 times. Of course, they all have basically a 50-50 weight distribution. Cornering Gs are very similar. Of course, like I said, S2000 is a notch above.
You see what I'm saying? It stacks up against those cars almost perfectly. Of course, the newer cars are faster and more advanced, but hey, it could still give them a run for their money. So the 944 to me has always been a significant car. So that's why I decided to do right by the 944 and put my money where my mouth is. And I went ahead and I bought one. So with that, let me go ahead and introduce you to the newest member of the FunAhead fleet. Well, here it is, everybody. My 1986 Porsche 944. It's a base model. This is the one that has the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated inline 4, mated to a 5-speed manual transaxle. It's got about 111,000 miles on the clock, which is correct as of about 10 years ago when the odometer still worked, but overall, it's in solid shape for a 38-year-old car. Now let's go ahead and continue the tour inside because, well, quite honestly, it's very cold outside, and I'd like to go ahead and give you some more thorough coverage in the warmth, even though you can still see my breath. I don't have the heater on for sound quality. You're welcome. Well, as you can see, I have way too many freaking cars in here. You guys already saw the exterior for the most part, but let me get this hood popped so we can see that beautiful sweet Porsche designed engine under this thing. All right, well, here it is in all of its mechanical goodness. Now, I'm not going to go into anything specifically right now, but we definitely have quite a few things to take care of that we will jump on in the next episode with regards to bringing this thing up to snuff maintenance-wise. A lot of deferred maintenance that has yet to be done on this thing before we can really start beating the snot out of it. So, like I said, this is a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter inline 4. No cool turbo on this side or anything, but who needs a turbo when you've got naturally aspirated fun, am I right? In the back here, we've got the sweet, like, fastback style trunk, super period correct. Also period correct are these aftermarket Pioneer speakers that someone very jankishly installed, probably in the day. I really wish they wouldn't have done that because they cut some nice holes in this floor mat here. But as you can see, nice practical trunk space here with the luggage cover. Shoot, that's tip-top. Let's move on to the rest of the interior. Looking on the side here, you can see these beautiful haunches over each of the wheels that the 944 is known for. The 924 before it did not have these, and boy, am I thankful they did that because, gosh, is this a beautiful car. Opening up the interior here, sorry in advance, we are probably going to hear some beeping. I'll take care of this quickly. You can see, well, little tear, but overall, pretty straightforward. Very 1980s 944-esque. Very modern style, especially for the day. We've got a nice glove box over there. Digital clock, which I don't think works. More storage in the center console here, which is, well, basically useless. Nice little ashtray. Nice. Gotta have that. And my favorite thing is the very period correct Porsche steering wheel. I used to hate that back in the day, but I have grown to love that thing in recent years. I just love how iconic 1980s that thing is. Plus, I could be wrong, but I'm fairly certain that the 959 had this steering wheel as well. Just saying. And the best part? So you might be wondering, what are my plans with this bad boy? Well, of course, as one might expect, we're going to do some typical FunAhead TV style videos where we bring this thing up to snuff, but not quite in the normal way that we've done so in the past, where we tackle every single one of the while you're in theirs. Why, you ask? Well, for that we need to talk about kind of the secondary reason why I went ahead and bought this car. So aside from saving yet another Porsche on the channel, the bigger picture focus of this Porsche 944 is to show you guys just how accessible certain forms of racing can be, and I'm going to tell you guys what it takes to enter races, to find races near you. A lot of people just don't know about it. So they don't know about events that are happening, and then even if they do, they don't know what it takes to get involved. what you need as a driver to compete and what your car needs. But no, I'm not talking about expensive club racing or even track weekends for that matter. Track weekends are expensive. Racing doesn't have to be some specifically track prepped sports car with a built out engine and custom suspension that can only be used during very expensive track reservations. No. Racing can be as simple as buying a capable, depreciated sports car or even a car that you own right now and taking it out and entering it in an autocross race. So 30,000 foot overview, I spent $6,500 on this car. I'm probably going to spend another $500 or $1,000 getting this thing completely sorted or at least race ready. And then we're going to go out and see how it stacks up against the competition, specifically the competition that I mentioned in the table earlier. We're going for those cars to prove that this car is still relevant and we can do it on a dime. Now, if you're not familiar with what autocross racing is, I encourage you to just do some quick searching on YouTube and go down a rabbit hole. It's a beautiful thing and it's a very fun sport. But the gist of it is, it's a time trial race that takes place in a large parking lot going through a course that's made out of cones. You get maybe 5 to 7 runs each day, and your best time of all those runs is the time that's used at the end of the day to stack yourself up against all of the competition. And the best part is, any car can do it. With the exception, of course, of vans, SUVs, and trucks because of their higher center of gravity, but I've even seen Priuses run autocross events. And in fact, some of the more competitive cars on an autocross track that I've seen, Honda Fits and the Mazda 2. Those are incredibly capable cars that you can get on a budget. Now you might be wondering, how is it that you can just go ahead and enter any street car into a race like this? Well, given the shorter nature of the runs of an autocross event, you don't need the serious engine cooling capability and serious brake cooling capability that's required for cars that are run on tracks over sustained periods of time. Additionally, it's next to impossible to do any real damage to your car. The worst thing that will happen is you might spin out or you'll most likely hit a cone at some point, but there are no walls to hit and there are no other cars to hit because you're out there by yourself racing the clock. Unlike on a racetrack where there are so many things that could go wrong and ways to damage your car. Now, of course, I am in no way trying to badmouth track driving. As my longtime viewers will know, I love track weekends. But I'm just trying to emphasize the overall accessibility of running literally any car and the low risk nature of it. But don't let that fool you into thinking that it means it isn't fun, because believe you me, whatever that phrase actually means, it is extremely fun. So I'm not only going to be showing you guys that the 944 has still got it, but I'm going to show you all how fun, accessible, and economical various forms of racing can be. I know we barely scratched the surface with regards to that car in this episode, but in the next episode, I'm going to be giving you guys a full tour of this thing inside and out. We'll put it up on the lift, do a full inspection of it, and make a list of everything that we need to do, top priority items, of course, in order to get this thing to be completely autocross race ready. Full disclosure, that'll be my first time throwing this thing up on the lift. I have not done this off camera, so we'll walk through this thing together and see the whole process, beginning to end, of everything that this car needs. Plus, we're even gonna start digging into this thing and doing some work on it. So if you wanna see that, please hit the subscribe button because there's so much more content to come for this very special car. I hope I didn't bore you guys to tears with all the history of the 944. I personally find it fascinating because honestly, that is a very special car, and just because it's not a 911 does not mean it's not a significant Porsche. So thank you all so much for tuning into FunAhead TV. Like I said, so much more to come with this car in the next episode and many, many episodes after that, and you're not gonna wanna miss it. So please subscribe and please hit that like button if you enjoyed this episode. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here. I couldn't do this without you. Yes, you. I'm looking right at you. And I will hopefully see you all in the next episode. Thanks. Oh, hey everyone. Just a quick reminder, super high quality FunAhead TV merch is available on FunAheadTV.com right now. So head on over to FunAheadTV.com and get yourself some today. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Also, thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see even more great FunAhead TV content, please click the link right here. I'll see you over there. Quickly losing steam as the 928 and 9 and the 944. What am I, Tom DeLonge? Eminem, maybe? I don't know.